Howdy, brothers.
Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and Water.
We are here with your co-host, Jess.
And your co-host, Liv.
Back at it once again.
Back
The both of
at
us.
it in the flesh. Here we are, guys. I missed y'all. I really did.
We missed you.
I really did.
Guys, that episode was so hard to do by myself. I hated it.
You're a real one for pulling through. I can't believe I missed an episode.
I know.
That is the first in 2 years.
I know.
Honestly, that just goes to show, like,
I don't need
how
you.
much.
I'm kidding.
That just goes to show this is the whiskey show now. No, but yeah, you're a real one for stepping up. I was not, like, I could have faked it, but I didn't want to bring that to y'all. I didn't want to fake it, and you guys don't want me to fake it.
No.
And pretend everything's okay.
Genuine energy only.
When it's not. But I am happy to be back. We have, wow, such a good fucking episode, you guys.
Again.
Such a good episode.
What an angel that has graced our podcast this week.
Madison Utendahl.
Good job. Right? Yeah, yes. Good
job. She is a female founder, storyteller, founder of a creative firm. I actually meant to ask her the difference between a firm and an agency, but that's something I can Google later. But they do design, branding, and marketing. It is Black founded. It is an all women, diverse team. We got so much really good insight from her about what it is to build a diverse team, how people can do that more and be more inclusive with their teams. And we talk a little bit about her Forbes 30 under 30, which was really great.
Hot take on that.
Hot take on that, and her really honest opinion about it. And I just love that she's so transparent and honest, and such a great conversation. And we know her brother Corey. We have been friends with him for years, and it's so nice to be like already have that mutual connection and bond. And I can't wait to see her in person and hang out and be friends in real life.
Yeah, she was honestly great, and this is such a good episode, guys.
Such a good episode. So good. Like, chills multiple times. You guys are going to absolutely love it. But before we get into that, of course, we have our segments for you guys. We have our high and low and our deep dive. So let's go ahead and dive into those.
Are we starting with high and low or deep dive?
Let's start with low and high.
Okay, you do your low first.
Okay, guys, my low is obvious. Here we are again. Do you guys feel like this is deja vu? Because I do. I dealt with more loss, and yeah, it was a really not fun time. I don't know why things are the way they are or why things happen the way they do, but I'm coming to kind of acceptance, I guess, in this process. It's just a really bizarre thing to be grieving with someone and then to be grieving that person a week later. It's like it's hard for your brain to even process what's happening and how that's like reality.
Yeah. I mean, you don't wish that on your worst enemy.
No, I truly don't.
I mean, it was really like life said,
fuck you guys. Yeah. Like it was honestly really fucking horrible.
I was with a friend when you actually called me.
I know. And you're with the guy, your guy friend.
Yeah. And we were watching a movie, paused the movie. You called me, and obviously I got off the phone and I was, super upset, super shaken up. And I explained to them, the situation. And they were like, what the fuck? They were like, oh, that's unheard of. Like, what kind of cruel joke is this? You know?
Yeah. Like, truly just cruel.
Yeah.
So I told you guys that my friend Melanie had passed away, who was the girlfriend of my other friend Justice, who passed away in August. And then, and then a week later, like at her, because her funeral was Saturday, and then the next day was her butterfly release, which is like a celebration of life on Sunday. And we found out Sunday morning that our close friends, like within that circle who I was with that week mourning Melanie's loss, like just us and her, she had passed. And so I was at Mel's butterfly release, literally sobbing over Julia. And I'm just like, this is so fucked up. Really, really deep stuff. And I obviously like don't want to, bore you guys with the grief.
Ugh, don't say that. You're not boring anyone with your grief.
Definitely like the hardest probably thing I've ever like gone through thus far in my life. I am really thankful I'm on the other side of it. Like, I know I'm not past the hard, dark days. Like, even like yesterday, I was like on set and crying on set. And our friend Fro was so sweet. And he was like, dude, you come before all of this and you literally don't have to shoot today. And I'm like, no, this is good for me. Like, it's really good because I'm either just, the way I'm, like, the phase I'm in now is either I'm distracted or I'm sad, which is like kind of fucked up. but I'm happy that I can at least feel like myself, because last week I
Mhm.
like answering text was literally like a heavy, like just dreadful task. Like it was hard to even answer a text, and I've never been there
Yeah,
before. Like
it's scary.
it was crazy. It was
Mhm.
crazy. And that's so, like not like me. But how else are you supposed to act, So
Mhm.
I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for Jess, who I know you keep saying stop thanking you, but I can't help but feel so appreciative that I was able to have the space um to take off, because I feel like that's something that I want to talk about more, actually, like grief and working, because so many people have to work through their grief, and I feel like that's not talked about a lot. Like it's such a privileged place for me to have been like, I'm taking the week off.
Mhm.
And I cannot imagine going through what I was going through while having to work. Like I can't imagine it. Like it would have fucked me up so
Mhm.
hard, like mentally, to not have that time to properly like grieve and start to heal. So that's why I've just been like so, thankful and showing my gratitude, because like I needed that so bad.
Of course, brother. Again, I will not be accepting any thanks
She's like,
for
stop
doing
thanking
this
me.
because it's, what are we here for if not for this?
Yeah, yeah, it was really a hard week, but I also went to Austin this weekend with my girlfriends, my 7 best friends from childhood, and that's, like, exactly what I needed to also, like,
Mhm.
refresh and get, like, just some good, like, genuine laughter in me, be surrounded by childhood friends who just have loved me for so long. And I was telling them, I'm like, if this trip weren't with you guys, there's no shot I would be here. There's no shot I would be able to pretend I was
For sure.
okay, zone out, and like be not okay for a few minutes on the side. Like I would never have done that trip. I mean, with you obviously, but like if it were a
Mhm.
work trip or like anything else, I would have canceled. So that was really good.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that
Got your
was,
mind off of it for a
yeah,
little
and
bit.
had fun. I danced a lot,
Yeah.
laughed a lot. So yeah, that was my low. Austin was a high. Another high is I got a work phone. I pulled the trigger. I'm excited to see how that changes my workflow and my
Mhm.
things. I was even
I'm
thinking about,
excited for you too.
yeah, yeah. I'll let you know
Yeah.
if I need to put you on. Even Tammy was like, let me know how it is. I'm like, I will. Cause it's nice, cause I can like bring my phone into my room now, my personal phone, and it can just be like for my alarm or for the clock,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
So I don't have to be like totally MIA, but know that I'm like able to
Yeah.
not be contacted for work stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for that too because I feel like I'm hoping it goes well because I would love that
Yeah,
separation.
and I think it's like it's healthy, it's just healthy habits,
Mhm.
more than like it's boundaries, but also just instilling healthy habits.
Mhm.
Okay, that was a whirlwind. What is your low and your high, brother?
So we typically start off with the low. I honestly have had a really good week.
Yay. Love that.
Just like, just very, just grateful for, my work, grateful that, I'm making money and just doing the things that I love. I would say that okay, so so again, I don't really have a low, but I do love reality TV. And I
If
what?
this is what I think it is, I hate
No,
you.
no, it's not. It's not because The Bachelor wasn't on this Monday.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
If I had thought of that,
'Cause that was
it
a
would have
low for
been.
me. I was, like, sitting down, getting ready, I'm
Oh
like,
no.
"There's not an episode this week." I'm like, "This is really the tip of the iceberg for me."
That's so funny. You're like, this is my 13th reason.
Yeah, this is why.
No, so no, it might be comparable to that, honestly.
Okay, go ahead.
Too Hot to Handle. I love the show, right?
Uh-huh.
We've actually had Chloe from Too Hot to Handle on the
Yes.
show.
Yes.
I love the show. The past 2 seasons were really good. I love reality TV. It's my red flag. I
Not more than
wear
she
it with pride.
not more than she loves it, Vampire Diaries for the 10th time.
It's my safe space.
Continue.
And this fucking cast just sucks. Like they are I mean, it's kind of mean. I hope none of them hear this. Not that they would ever, but they're just not attractive.
Oh.
I'm like, where did you find
Oh, no.
these people?
Yikes.
These guys.
She's
Okay. It's mainly the men.
she's a
The
show
me-
critic.
the men. I'm like, that guy looks
Do
like
better.
my fucking night terror demon that crawls out from under my bed.
Yikes.
Like, what are we? Oh, you know what?
She's savage
I
today.
actually do have a low.
Oh, is your
It's my
nightmares?
nightmares. I couldn't
Yeah.
think of it because whatever. Yeah, no, my nightmares were really fucked up the other night.
You, like, dreamt
But
that you had another dog or
that
something?
was yeah. But I had a dream after that was really fucked up that I'll tell you off the pod.
Oh
'Cause
God.
it was fucked.
If
I
your
can't even say
discretion
it.
advised.
Yeah,
Don't,
yeah.
yeah.
Fuck. Anyway, so that
Anyways.
was my low.
Not gonna
My-
bore you with our nightmares and grieving.
My low was that the fucking cast of Too Hot to Handle
It's not hot
was
at all.
very not hot, and I could very much handle
Too
it.
unattractive by standard beauty standards to handle.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. So yeah,
you're-
just not good.
Okay, and you're high.
My high, yesterday I went to this aloe event with Tamir, which was
Really like this.
yeah, I'm actually wearing the bra and the fucking
not
zip up.
not a sponsored ad.
Yeah, you know what? Aloe is just a really nice brand, and like I don't know, I'm just like I've always loved their stuff, so I really like to get the opportunity to go to events that they're hosting. And so me and Tamir went, and it was like this wellness event where we had like a sound bath and did some yoga and had a
Cute.
brunch, and like I was just like, wow, this is so nice. Like this is my life.
This is your life.
And like I just get to do this.
Yeah.
And the sound bath was incredible.
Oh,
and
I love sound baths.
oh my God,
They're
they
so
are
healing.
so good.
Yeah, they're so healing.
And like and I feel like we as influencers get to experience sound baths more than the normal person because
Yeah.
it's always like if you go to a wellness event, it's always like
A
sound bath and
yeah.
whatever and Reiki healing.
Mhm.
But like I was thinking about it and I was like, I bet my mom has never experienced a sound
Oh,
bath.
yeah,
You know what I
maybe
mean?
not, yeah.
And so I was like, this is just so nice.
You know, we could like buy. You can buy those bowls
Mhm.
like on Amazon or something.
Are you gonna do it for me? Like, I'm gonna lay
Maybe.
down. You're gonna do
Yeah.
the bowl for me.
Well, you can do it for yourself too. Like
Yeah,
I'll come
but,
across.
you know.
I always come across these TikTok lives where people are doing sound baths, and they're just like,
immediate sit there with them.
Yeah, it's great.
And during the event, they like had just like a bunch of bins, like they just had aloe stuff. So I was able to grab myself and Olivia. I got Olivia like 4 pieces.
Let's fucking go.
I just shoved
And
everything, and I could like they were letting me.
Fucking love
But
socks.
and other stuff. She didn't just get socks. But,
Well, and socks.
And the socks are the most important part, but there was other things as well. So I don't know. I was just really stoked for that. Like I left and I was like, fuck yeah. Like,
Yeah.
This is so cool.
Bless up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
was just really happy that that's like, you know,
something that we
my
get
life.
to do.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. You want to go into your deep dive, brother?
Yes. The deep dive for this week is with a brand called Any Dye, I think is how you pronounce
NED?
it. NED, maybe. Basically, they are sunglass holders and protectors for your bag, which is a cool concept.
Oh, nice.
So it's like,
Tell me more.
you know the standard sunglass holder, but these are shaped like sunglasses so that you it's cute. It's cute. You guys will see my post, but how I got it is through my manager, Michael. The delivery.
Michael has been coming through lately.
He really has.
We've talked shit
He'll go ghost
for like a few months.
He'll ghost us for months at a time, and then he'll just come back with like these like fire ass deals.
Yeah. So
Thousands
shout
of
out to
dollars.
him.
Yes, shout out to him. He was really sweet too. He was like, "Do you need anything?" I'm like, "No." It makes me so emotional when people are like
There for
so
you.
nice.
When people love you.
Yeah, it really does.
You're loved.
Like I was like not crying. I like got myself to stop crying yesterday at the shoot, and then Fro come in. And he like gave me this whole thing, and I like started crying again. I'm like, "You're making me emotional. Stop it."
I love him with all
He's
my
like,
heart.
"You can leave right now." I'm like, he's literally the director of the shoot and like photographer of the whole shoot. I'm like, he's telling me I could leave. And I'm
he's like, if you're not like well enough to do this shoot, like
Yeah.
you don't have to be here.
Yeah.
He's not just telling you.
he was like, no. He was like, "You come before all of this." And I'm like, Fro. Anyways, so the brand is Any Dye or NED. The deliverables are 1 reel and 3 frame story, and the rate is $7.50. I'm happy with it, although we do want to let you guys know that we have both decided to raise our rates after seeing many things on TikTok about transparency. We're realizing that we might be charging a little too low, which is crazy.
Love that for us.
Crazy, because I really do already feel like we are,
We make way too much money for what we're
for
doing.
what we do. Like I
Yeah.
do feel like we are often overpaid. So like to raise our rates even more, I'm like,
fuck it.
okay, if you
guys
say
say so, yeah, exactly.
whatever. So yeah, we are raising our rates, but this is a really great rate for what I'm doing, and I'm excited to create the content.
Love that for you, brother. I actually am
Yes.
really interested to see the product because
I'll bring it.
I'd be
I'll bring it Wednesday.
throwing my fucking sunglasses in the bag.
They're super cute.
And like my sunglasses, like I have like 2 nice pairs. Like one's Tom Ford, one's Dolce and Gabbana, and I'm like,
you just toss them in there.
I really do.
Yeah, I don't get nice glasses because of how I treat my glasses.
I got them. I didn't buy them.
They were
I got
free,
them.
yeah.
I got a collab.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't mean I should treat them any less.
I
you know what
don't
mean?
wear my YSLs that I got for free because I'm scared that I just drop them and throw them.
You never wear those.
No,
That's
I
so
don't
true.
because they're nice and I don't want to fuck them up.
See, at this point, you know what? I actually saw like a video, or it was like a TikTok, and it was like, stop like not wearing your nice perfume. Stop not wearing
Stop
your
saving
nice.
it pretty
Stop
much.
saving it.
Yeah.
Live in the fucking now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel that. I do be saving shit. Like I don't want to wear it because it's like a nice occasion. Every day is a nice occasion. We get to live every day.
Truly. Or not.
Or not live every day. That was dark.
I'm just saying.
I was trying to be optimistic, and here
I'm just saying I have such a really profound look on life and death now, and we'll save that for another day. But I'm truly like, yeah, no, it is what it is. I could die tomorrow, my life would be complete, and it just is.
It would be
what
complete.
It is.
It would be complete, and I love that you.
Like it's not.
That was your takeaway.
I don't see it as morbid anymore. Like I just see it as it's
completion.
Well, completion, and it's just like it's just a part of life. It just it just is. And like I always kind of understood that, but now like I really like to my bones understand that every day could be your last and every moment could be your last. And honestly, if I can take anything away, it's that. And I know that my friends who have passed would want that to be the lesson.
Yeah.
Would want that to be like, yes, live every moment. Be thankful for every moment. Be thankful for no matter how insignificant, small. And like, I'm like, did I need this lesson to learn this? No, I kind of already knew it, like I always preached it. But now I can't explain it. I truly feel it in my bones and every atom of my body. With that, let's get into the episode.
I haven't done my deep dive.
I'm so sorry. With that, let's get into Jess's deep dive.
Okay.
I just dove deep in something else.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay, let's go.
So I'm going to be telling you guys about something that I might not even get to do because life is short. But anyways, so this is actually a gifting. This is a PR gifting. So I wanted to kind of highlight that instead of like a normal collab. Because it's, just a different part of being an influencer.
Yeah.
And so there's this PR company that I've been like in touch with and like working with for a few years, and they always like hit me up like a couple times a year, and they send me like all of their brands and every single lookbook from the brand, and they're basically just like choose whatever you want.
Oh my god.
And I love my job. I love free shit. I've always loved free shit.
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest perk of the job.
Anyone who doesn't love free shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking like, like the string gym bag from the fucking corporate events.
The pens and the sunglasses.
Yeah, no, that's not what we're talking. But I do be loving.
I don't like that.
I do be loving free shit. So
quality shit.
So, and it was really dope. Like I always love their giftings because it's always brands that I actually like, because I won't select shit just to like get shit. Like I'm selecting things that I
think you can use.
Yeah, will use, create content in, blah, blah, blah. So even though there's no deliverables associated with that, I tend to give them posts and like stories just because, I appreciate the love from them and I want to show it back. And because
they're giving it to you with no strings attached.
Exactly. They're not asking for
anything. And it makes you want to give them something.
Yeah. And if they were like, yeah, we need a post in every single thing, I'd be like,
yeah.
Y'all are out of your goddamn mind. Will
yeah.
I do it anyways if you don't ask? Yes.
Yeah.
But you can't ask for it.
You can't ask. That's the rule.
Yeah.
You can't ask.
So, I was just really excited about that. And honestly, I also love pieces that like I'm picking out and that I love because I receive it and they honestly inspire me. Like I did like this really cute shoot with like one of the sets they gave me and like these cowboy boots and like
yeah, I saw.
You saw that? And I loved those photos. Cute. They were really simple, but like it just inspired me to create, and it's just nice to feel inspired by the work that we do like every single day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, I can definitely relate to that a lot. And also like we need content anyway, so if we receive free things that we like, we're gonna end up shooting in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. But I feel you on that, like feeling inspired. Like it does feel so good to be inspired again.
And just to like shoot with like no creative brief attached, or like to like just really like
do
Be the own maker of your own content.
yeah,
Like I had
like have a vision
I
and
had
execute the vision.
exactly, like, I put my personal preset that I've made on those images, like, the one that I wish I could put on every image, but it doesn't, like, fit the vibe, like, I put that on there, I put on my fucking cowboy boots,
You motherfucking
I
huh.
made it how I wanted to, and that was just really refreshing.
Yeah, love that. All right, we won't hold you guys any longer. I do want to just say a quick thank you to our audience and our listeners who continue to show up and support us every week. I know you guys are out there. Some of you came out of the woodworks to say hi to me last week, and it really, truly meant a lot. And, we always say it, but like this is so one sided, and we show up every week and we have these like amazing conversations, but it's so rare that we hear from all of you guys on the other side listening. But there's so many of you, and it's really nice to know, like, the girl who reached out was like, I look forward to the show every day. And like, you guys bring me so much joy. And just knowing that makes all of this worth it. So we
Yeah.
love you guys so much. We encourage you to reach out when you feel inspired to do so and enjoy this really, really amazing conversation. And we'll see you on the other side.
Bye, guys.
Bye. All right, guys, we have Madison on, the superstar, the female founder, the storyteller. I am so excited to finally sit down with you
Yes,
and
long
dive into the
overdue.
yes, dive into this conversation. But for those in our audience who don't know you already and don't know anything about you, go ahead and give them just a little brief introduction into who you are and what you do.
Yeah, for sure. So I identify as a storyteller first, but technically I'm the CEO and founder of a creative agency called Utendahl Creative, which is my namesake. We are an all-female, diverse design and branding firm who really believe that stories are data for the soul. That's our MO. You also say that we're nice New Yorkers. That's one of our taglines that
Oh, that's so cute.
gets us a lot of business, actually. People are like, oh shit, okay, we want to work with you.
So, but
That's
I
so
think
cute. I love
yeah,
that.
it's super sweet. Can you expand a little bit on, like, what being a storyteller, like, really means to you?
Yeah, for sure. Great question. Well, I mean, I started my career and went to college for film. So for me, like my medium has changed over the course of my career, but like the core foundation of what I want to do, what I do, how I spend my time is still rooted in storytelling. So it started in the film industry as a filmmaker, as someone who wanted to be a documentarian, and then moved over to the experiential landscape. So how do you tell stories through spaces? Which is really where I found that there was an amazing niche for me with social marketing and social storytelling. And then eventually it became about design. But at its origin, its key foundational root is this deep intrinsic purpose and passion of telling a story and connecting with people in a very emotional and deep way.
Gotcha. And what kind of stories have you found are the ones that kind of resonate with you most?
Yeah. Um, I would say they're ones that are just rooted in depth and substance and like true human. I mean, I don't want to say struggle, but like really reaching people at their core. Like, what is the core essence of what a human being enjoys and why? Like, who are they? Why is this experience enjoyable to them? Why is this social post resonating with them? Why are they entering this space from a deep emotional level?
Okay, yeah, I love that. And so tell us a little bit about kind of what in your like life and kind of career, brought you on this path. You can go as far back or,
Yeah.
as you'd like.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, it's funny because I did a keynote presentation on years ago on at a company I was working for, but there's a whole section where actually to sit down and think about like the same question you just asked me, like why did I even get into this business? Why do I identify as a storyteller? And it goes actually back to my childhood in New York City, and I have a very clear memory of having a really bad day, and my dad saying to me that like to just reminding me of the importance of having gratitude and self-awareness within asking me to look around. I think we were just like on the sidewalk that like in New York City everyone's got a story, and if you think your story is the worst story, that person right there probably has a story that's 10 times worse. It's New York. It's a tough place to live. It's a tough city. Like you got to be resilient to live here and be here.
Mhm.
And I never thought about it that way. I never thought about that. Oh, wow. Like you're right. I'm surrounded by thousands of people. Literally, even in my own apartment building, there are thousands of people this way and that way and wherever. And we all have our own story. And some are amazing and beautiful, and some are really sad. But that
Mhm.
is what it means to be human, right?
Mhm.
And it just struck me that like, wow, there's so many stories out there that I can seek to learn and understand, that I can grow from, that I can, learn from. And it's changed my life. And I don't think he had any intention. I mean, he was teaching me about gratitude in that moment. It was like a very clear dad parental experience, right?
Yeah.
Of like,
He didn't
dad
realize how
teaches.
profound it would be
No,
for
Yeah.
no,
you.
it was more like dad teaches child about how to be grateful for the amazing life they had. Like,
Yeah.
check, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we've
It
all
it it
had
was
that
like
conversation with our parents.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like synonymous to, like, when you, like, don't wanna finish your dinner and your parents are
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
there's kids in Africa
Yeah,
who
yeah,
are starving."
yes, exactly.
They're
Totally,
like, eat
totally.
your broccoli.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly,
that's
exactly.
incredible. And so you mentioned, like, New York City. Are you from New York City? Like, where were you raised?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in New York. I'm a true New
Wow.
Yorker, and we're generations of New Yorkers. My dad grew up in the city. My grandmother's from the city. Like, we are truly that. So as much as I struggle in New York City winters, like, despite I've been doing 30 years of them, they're still rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I'm
think
a
you'd
New
get used to
Yorker.
it by now.
Well, that's why you're a nice New Yorker, because
Yeah,
you are generations of New
Yeah.
Yorkers. And I
You're
feel like that's so rare
you're
these
like, we were
days.
it is.
born. It's in your blood at this point. Like
Yeah,
you were made for
100%.
this life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and New York has its pros and cons, but I think that what that instills in me, and where maybe my confidence comes from, or one of the reasons, is that like I know what New York can provide people.
Mm,
The city changes a lot, but it's still New York.
yeah.
And there's
Mhm.
like a deep understanding of that because I have generations of people who've like lived through New York in my blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when people are like, New York is dead, I'm like, do you know how many times they've said that throughout
You're
like my
right.
grandmother's life, my dad's life? Like, I never have that anxiety about New York that a
Mhm.
lot of people
Yeah.
have.
And it's so true that that is a city. I was born in New York, but I was raised in Florida, but a lot of my family
Okay.
still lives up there. And it's so true that I mean, it's just like the city itself is so inspiring. And like I have
Hmm.
never felt more inspired than when I spend time in the city because you're right,
Yeah.
everyone on the street has these stories and like they do have this grit that you can't find in other
Yeah.
places.
Yeah. It's
And
so
it's
true.
like you can go out on your day, like just your normal everyday, and you have no idea what's gonna happen. And
No
like
idea.
that's only
No
like a New
idea.
York
Yeah.
thing, you know, like
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
things can happen. You can watch so
Totally.
many, you can meet so many people. Like it's crazy. So I love that. And I also love that you find so much inspiration from others. I feel like we can get so caught up in ourselves and our own lives
Yeah.
and be self-absorbed and maybe like we find ourselves losing inspiration because we
Yeah.
are looking so just at ourselves and at our lives.
Mhm.
So I really really love that you find so much inspiration just from other people's lives, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
because I feel
Thank
like
you.
we can learn
Yeah. And
so much from that.
100%, 100%. I mean, like, we are not, the idea of living in this world alone is such a death sentence, in my opinion.
It
Like,
is.
like this idea of and we have access even just now digitally to so many people. And
Right.
yet we feel so alone societally, right? Like,
Right.
we feel like we
Right.
can't learn from anybody, that woe is me. And don't get me wrong, some people have real struggles, like, and myself included, right? I'm not perfect. But I do believe that like there's so much value in engaging even with a total stranger. You can learn
Mhm.
so much about yourself in just having perspective. And that's what my
Mhm.
dad was really trying to teach me in that moment of like, you can have a bad day, but just remember that there are so many people out there whose days are much worse than yours. So
Mhm.
that even in your darkest time, there's still so much to be grateful for, which is a different way than like, eat your broccoli because kids are dying, right? Like, that doesn't actually teach you anything. You're like, yeah, okay, I'm aware of that, but like, what does that mean to me right now?
Right. How can I
Mhm.
relate to
Right?
that?
How can I relate to that in this moment? But if you just step outside in New York or in any city, like, I always say to people, just step outside. Just
Yeah.
remove yourself from where you're sitting alone and just realize that this world is really big. There's a lot of people. There's a
Mhm.
lot to learn.
Mhm.
Something that's, like, resonated with me a lot recently, kind of while I'm, navigating hardships or, anything or anxiety or whatever, is that I realized that nothing that I'm experiencing is truly unique. Like,
Mhm.
Mhm.
there's so many people that have
So true.
experienced, like,
Yeah.
the fucking
Mhm.
heartbreak or,
Yeah. Yeah.
stress at work or just, like, anxiety about life, and something that I've honestly found a lot of comfort in is that it is not, I'm not that fucking special. This is this is
Yeah,
not a
I feel
unique
you. I know what you
experience.
mean. Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I love that. And I feel like it, it really gets you out of your own head and,
Mhm.
connecting with others.
Yeah, I went through a breakup like a year and a half ago that like rocked my world type breakup. And I remember like in my like searching for tools and help and conversation, there was this podcast I listened to by Brendan Burchard, and he talks about how like heartbreak is actually a universal experience. And like we don't think of it that way, but like talk about something that most 99% of people can relate to is a broken heart.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, wow,
Yeah. You're
like
like, holy shit.
so
Yeah.
holy shit, because it feels so isolated because you're just
So
like you and that
isolating.
person are suffering
Right.
individually, right? Like that is true. Like there's no one else who's suffering in your breakup besides you two. But the emotional experience of heartbreak is a universal experience. Like
Yeah.
everyone knows what that feels like. Even if it's just you and your crush chose the other girl, like, oh, that's heartbreak
Yeah.
too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
100%. And
And
Yeah.
there's so much nuance to each relationship, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, no, there was, like
we were special.
me and his
Yeah,
family,
right.
it was like me and his family got along so well, and that's why this hurts even worse. And it's like, get in fucking line, you know?
Totally,
Yeah, and
totally.
I cannot agree more. And something else that has made me almost hyper aware of how no situation, no matter how unique it may feel it may be, it's not is like TikTok and social media. Like I will come across
Yeah, so
TikToks. I'm
true.
not sure if
So
Yeah.
you're on
true.
the platform, but
Yeah,
I'll come
yeah.
across TikToks where I'm like, oh my
Yes, you're
God.
like, "Oh."
How I've never had an original thought in my life. And
Mhm.
then you see all the
Totally.
comments and they're all saying the same thing. So I'm like,
Yes.
wow. And it's the most like,
Yeah.
nuanced,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
small,
totally. Yeah,
craziest
yeah.
thing. But it makes you realize that we truly are not. We're all going
Yeah,
through these same types of things.
Mhm.
it's so true. It's funny you say that because I just watched a TikTok recently, and it was like a guy who like has driving his car and like realizes he's like arrived at his destination, and you're like, and I don't know if you guys have had that experience. But there's times where I'm
Yes.
just like, you arrive somewhere and you're like, I don't remember
You're like,
driving. Like,
how did I
how
get
did
here?
I get
Blacked
here?
out.
Like you're so in your own world, and it's terrifying, right?
Yeah.
Like when you realize that, you're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. But I was crying of laughter because like you're clearly there's something that's happening, right? Where you're able to like still turn your signals on and
Autopilot.
you're in autopilot mode.
Mhm.
But I was on the floor. On the floor. It was so good. I love TikTok. I don't
I
Oh my
post
God.
on mine, but I'm like always on it, just
Yeah,
looking.
no, TikTok's
I love it.
amazing.
And it could be something as simple as like, like I'll see girls posting about like, shaving a certain way or for a certain time of the day. And like
Yeah, yeah,
people
yeah.
will be like, I have never vocalized this in my life. And
Yeah.
yet
Yeah.
here is an entire community of people
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild.
So
Yeah.
it's super interesting. Go ahead.
Something else that you mentioned about you always recommend people just getting out of their space, like going outside, getting that perspective. Something else that I feel super helpful is, and I'm sure you can relate because it's New York City and there's so many skyscrapers, is like
Mhm.
going higher up and seeing
Mm.
perspective, like
Yeah, that's so true.
literal
Literal
perspective. Because then you're
perspective.
like,
Yeah.
wow,
Mhm.
there's 1,000 people living in that building. There's 1,000 people
Yeah.
living in that building, all having their
So
own
true.
unique lives.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
No, I
it
love
makes you
that. That's a
feel
great one.
it makes you
That's a
feel
great one.
small in a way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. I've never thought to do that, but that's really smart. Yeah, it's true. Like get to the highest building you can get to and just look outside.
And it's
Yeah.
literal perspective.
Guys, just
Yeah.
start scaling buildings. I am curious as to where you gain a lot of your personal inspiration from.
Other than people.
Well,
Yeah.
even people, like, are you like
Yeah.
going out and is it just like random conversations? Are you putting
Yeah.
yourself in situations to,
Is
Yeah.
spark spark that.
I'm a big reader. Like
Okay.
big
Love.
reader. Not just of books, but like constantly and not I wouldn't say like read the news, but there's like certain publications I devour. Like I devour the Atlantic and the New Yorker, New York Magazine, like just the religious consumption of their content.
Of just like literature in general.
Yeah, and literature, but like, with the Atlantic, I'm just always learning. I mean, their perspective on global events and just the original pieces they come up with are fascinating. And same with the New Yorker. Like I've learned so much from them.
And are you reading this
Um,
on your phone or a physical copy?
I'm like, I print shit out. Like, I'm
Okay.
30, I'm 30 going on 95. Like,
I love
I think
it.
because
No,
I
I
stare at
love.
I think because I stare at a screen all day for work, actually one of my, like, big things is in between meetings, doing things off my phone is really
Mm,
important to me. So, like, I actually am, like, constantly doing chores around the house, and I have 30-minute breaks, like, things that are, like, 100% prevent me from being digitally. It's like laundry, dishes, like,
yes.
just get my eyes off of the screen. And then when I'm reading, that's also why I print a lot of the articles out, is because I just, like, I can't look at a screen any longer. You know what I mean? Like, by the end of
Yes.
the day, I'm like, just give me, like, analog so I can at least, like, my brain can settle a little.
Have a break. I love that so much. And
Yeah.
even about the chores thing, I relate to that so much because I'm not wanting to do the dishes, but then I'm like, it's probably good for me to like
Yeah.
feel water and
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
dishes and
Senses.
yeah, and like have my senses, like sparked
Yeah.
other than just scrolling on my phone. Like it's
100%. Well, it's
dangerous.
actually it's called flow, and, like, as human beings, the most like, one of the most important, things for our brain is to put ourselves in states of flow. So, like,
Mm,
driving,
yes.
doing
Yeah.
the
I love that you said
laundry.
that because that's like
Yeah.
my next point is that it's these things can be forms of meditation if we
Yeah.
allow them to be. And like that's why
Mhm.
a lot of people like you'll see them pick up a certain activity. Like it could be like rock climbing, it could be working out, lifting, Pilates,
Knitting.
yoga,
Yeah.
knitting. It's because these are forms of meditation for these people and that's why they're
Mhm.
finding release in it. It's because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's, they're just in a flow state and
A
that can
total
it
flow state. Yeah.
and it can be something as little or as insignificant as doing the dishes or taking your
Mhm.
dog on a walk. As long as you are
Mhm.
really giving yourself that space to
Mhm.
really only hone in on that thing for however amount of
And
time.
use our hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your hands.
Like
Our
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
our other
Yeah.
senses.
we sit
Yeah.
at these
Yeah.
computers, we sit on our phones, we're not using our hands to like do
Yeah.
things and make
Yeah.
Mhm.
things.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so
Crazy.
true. I'm a big believer in flow state. I think it's really important. I think we should teach it.
Yes.
Excuse me. We don't teach it. I found out later in life and the wrong way. But, like, if we taught people or taught kids, because kids have their phones and digital products attached to them at all times, if you taught your child at a really young age that, like, putting your phone away and vacuuming is a state of flow and meditation, like, how would they think of chores? You
Right.
know what
Wow,
I
that's
mean?
such a
Like,
good point.
there's I mean, my parents did not do that to me. It was always like a task.
Oh yeah, I have
But
a
when I
pile of
think
laundry on my bed.
yeah, yeah, totally. When I think of, like, how do we take this awareness that we now have in this hyper, like, dopamine addicted generation that we're all a part of, and, like, turn it into positive things? I mean, to me, it's a reframing of, like, what is used to be considered, like, a nuisance,
Mhm.
like, "Oh, fuck,
Yeah.
like, I love doing the laundry now." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm like,
Yeah, I
"Don't bring
love
my
that.
phone on me when I walk my dog," intentionally. So when people
Yeah.
try to
Mhm.
reach me, I'm like, "I was walking my dog, didn't bring my phone, like,
Mhm.
sorry." And all of a sudden,
Mhm.
something that was, like, annoying, it's like, "Oh, can't wait.
Yes.
Can't
Yeah.
wait.
Yes.
Can't wait to
Yes.
do the fucking dishes tonight." You know
Yeah.
I
what I mean?
know. It's so funny. You're getting older when you like start getting each other
Yeah,
vacuums for your birthday and shit. Like
totally,
we're getting each other
totally, yeah.
Roombas and we're like,
Yeah.
yes.
I love what you said about reframing because I
Yeah,
feel like as we like grow older and wiser, we're really just learning and unfucking learning because there is
amen.
so much that we were, kind of taught ass
Conditioned.
backwards and conditioned to. And I feel like reframing is a great way of like putting it for everything, for hobbies, for like work, for work life balance. Like there's
Mhm,
so much that we were taught by people who were not aligned and
mhm,
therefore we're having to unlearn all of these things, anxious
100%.
attachment
Yeah,
styles or whatever it could be.
absolutely, and also we unfortunately, like, bef any generation before millennials, I mean, I'm gonna get hate for this because they're not gonna agree with me, but I'm a believer that, like, millennials onwards do a different type of deep work
Mhm.
at younger ages. Not to say that baby boomers and Gen Y and Gen X haven't done the work, but I think the age to which that work began was older.
I agree.
I think that
Mhm.
now millennials and Gen Z, we started younger on that, like, deep introspection of, like, who am I?
Yes.
I
I
know for a fact my parents did
100%.
not start doing that work until their 50s.
My
You know what
parent
I
my
mean?
parents
Like,
still haven't done that work.
I was gonna say my
I
mom doesn't do
co-sign.
it at all. But my dad does the work. I know he does the work, but, like, he started at an older age.
Yeah.
And so like the idea of reframing is awesome for us because we get the opportunity to try and test it out. Like that's like,
Mm.
I even for myself, I'm like, whoa, if I'm getting something now at 30 that I didn't know 5, 10 years ago, great. I might also come to realize it doesn't work for me. And guess what? I might only be 35. That means I have so much more life to live to try out more things.
Right.
Yes.
Like reframing it in that way of like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a bad thing when people say people don't change. I actually think that's total bullshit. I think we evolve, right? Like if we choose to evolve, I think anyone and everyone is capable of evolution. I think we choose not to evolve. I don't believe anyone is the way that they are. Sure, we have like innate personality traits, but there's levels to them. Like
Yes.
some people, it's like if you're more likely to have it, be quick to get angry, you can work on that. You can
Mm-hmm.
work on that.
Heard.
You can learn how to be less angry and happier.
Like, I feel
right?
attacked.
No, this is quite literally my evolution.
Yeah. She's the whiskey, I'm the water.
Yes. And I love that because it is so true. Like everyone is capable of evolution, and there's a deeper conversation to be had for that, even if we're talking about like prison reform and shit, because
Yeah,
I
100%.
could really get into that. But I love that you said that because it is so true. And I feel like there's also something to be said about the way that we view age in
Yeah.
in relation to evolution and just kind of like life in general. And I've seen a lot of TikToks recently actually about this, where it's like Gen Z and like even millennials, like we have started to like count our like have ourselves out for the count so early. Like
Yeah, so early.
everyone thinks like, oh, high school, the best fucking years of your life, college, the best years of your life. What
No.
crack are we smoking here?
No,
there's
don't
no
let those be the best years of your life.
yeah, like
If you're fortunate enough, you have so much more life to live after
exactly.
that.
Like who fucking said? And like I love that there's this narrative that's changing that like the 30s are like obviously
Yeah,
it's
the
gonna
new
I feel like it's gonna
20s.
get like older and older. But
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now we're kind of giving a spotlight to the 30s because it's like your new 20s. Like you have
Yeah.
money and you have
As I say,
established
you have money, you're no longer
friends.
broke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that sounds fucking great to
You're
me.
more, you're
Yeah,
wiser.
yeah.
You have your shit
Yeah.
together a little bit more. You can actually enjoy the things that you're, struggling to. I feel like 20s is very
Yes.
like
Chaotic.
fleeting, like the joy, the happiness, the fun
Yeah.
is just fleeting. Like you're always looking for that next thing. And 30s is like you're kind of like settling into your
Yeah.
life.
And
And
you
who
want
you
to go
are.
through the darkness in your 20s. Like I spent a
Yes.
lot of my
You have
20s
to.
like in sorrow, in total sorrow and depression and like really not sure what I wanted or who I wanted, partying way too. I don't even want to say partying too much because ultimately I'm like really glad I partied that hard.
Yes.
Ultimately it made me who I am now, right? I let
Yes.
go. I learned that I don't need to party like that. I learned that like
Yeah.
let it fucking go, like mature, become a damn adult. And so now I don't
Me
feel
getting ready to go out tonight.
I don't feel any urge right now
Mhm.
versus I have friends who like spent their whole 20s like grinding, didn't have fun. And now are in their mid 30s, like 40s, letting it loose. And you're kind of like, it's not a good look. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, whoa, when you're in your 20s, like just experiment, try and test, like get messy,
enjoy the
get
youth.
weird. Yeah. But it's, I really feel for Gen Z right now because especially if you're like a freshman or sophomore in college in this day and age, like they cannot do that. You know what I mean? They can't live and let loose in the same way that we were able to when we were 18 because of COVID. Like I actually like really feel for them. Like it's just not the same right now.
Yeah,
it's just not the same.
It's definitely a unique time to be a youngin'.
I mean, my little sister
Yeah.
is 18 and she's in her freshman year of college, and she like couldn't find shit to do for New Year's, and so I let her like have her friend over at my place, and they like I'm not gonna say what they did here because it's for legal purposes, but at least they were like able to have fun here. But I do feel for her because those days were so fun. But yeah, her entire experience has been like affected by that.
It's shortchanged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Definitely. I want to go into more about your agency and dive into that a little bit. I want to just touch on the fact that you really take advertising to like this really great deep level, and I feel like
Thank you.
and most people think about advertising and I think it has a bad reputation of being shallow or being surface level. Like even when I was, in school learning about advertising, there was a lot of like tactics like how sexuality is used in advertising, and how like
Mm-hmm.
women's sexuality is used to sell.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
just feel like it never really got, and like how colors are used in advertising,
Mm-hmm.
but it never really
Mm-hmm.
got deeper than that. So hearing you talk about storytelling and connecting with people's emotions in that way, I think is really, really cool. And I would just kind of love
Thank
to
you.
learn more about like what that
Yeah.
process looks like for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what marketing and advertising was it's been for many years it was stuck, and I still think it's stuck in a lot of these like very big agencies at the
Mm-hmm.
helm with these older straight white men,
White
right?
men.
And that, yeah, older straight white men, right? Who like have
Yes.
not faced the same level of diversity, who maybe perhaps like the shallowness of advertising was also a testament to like how tough life had been for a lot of them, like not very. But now
Sure.
the industry is moving to be more diverse in both representation of who's at the top, putting women in the field, putting people who are not straight in the field, and their perspectives is what is fueling modern marketing. And so these big
Mm-hmm.
agencies are not doing well for a reason, and the smaller firms like Utendahl are doing well because we are a completely diverse agency with Black, Hispanic, Asian, white, all women, not all straight identifying. And so when we come at looking at projects, we're not coming at it from this like super privileged 65-year-old straight white male perspective. That's pretty shallow,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately. Not always, but sometimes, a lot of the times. And so I think the difference is like in what we're doing, I'm actually a big believer is that it can be replicated. People have to be willing to do the work of what it means to have inclusive work environments. And I don't think we're there yet, unfortunately, societally. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing something, and I'm intentionally, I say that, I'm not doing something that's groundbreaking. I'm doing something a little bit better because I'm taking the time to be more mindful of giving opportunities for people who don't often get them. And so these big agencies in advertising, they can do what I'm doing. They just probably won't because they're afraid, but
Mm-hmm.
they can do it, right? Like a lot of
Right.
companies can do it. They
Or
just
they
have to
don't.
want to.
Right, or they don't care enough
They don't, yeah,
to inconvenience themselves to go a little
right,
bit more out of the
exactly.
way to make it a point.
Or they have ego.
100%. Yeah,
They're set in their ways. They're like, well, this is what worked in my fucking day, and they
yeah,
don't realize
yeah,
that
yeah.
shit's changing.
Yeah.
And good and fine. You know what I mean? I'm kind
Yeah,
of like,
yeah, yeah.
I'm
Just
a
better for
believer that
us.
like, yeah, I'm a big believer is like some people get it early, some
Mm-hmm.
people get it late, some people don't get it at all. And like
Mm.
people who
Period.
don't get it at all, that's their own problem. The people who get it late, good for them. That
Yeah.
doesn't bother me either. You just want to be in the category of someone who gets it.
Gets it, yeah.
So you jump on the train of figuring out what it means to have an inclusive work environment. It's not that fucking hard. But if you don't want to, doesn't bother me. You won't be around for much longer. That's just
Period.
the truth. Just
Okay.
the truth.
I
So
love that.
good. Tell us a little bit about what your hiring process looks like, because being agency owners ourselves,
Hmm.
I'll be completely transparent and vulnerable. I don't know the politically correct way to go
Yeah.
about, hey, we're
Yeah.
looking for African
Hmm.
American team member.
Hmm.
Like I almost feel like that's
Yeah.
so
Oh,
I'm
100%. It's a
genuinely
great question.
curious. Okay, cool.
It's a great question. And it's something that, especially in the creative industry, which is predominantly white, it just is. Most of the time, it's because if you think about the cyclical effect of inclusion, if people of color don't see themselves represented in job environments or in job descriptions, they don't think that that's a career path they can pursue. And so
Sure.
they don't go for the career path. So
Sure.
there's a real reason why a lot of industries remain not diverse, and then a lot
Right.
of it is visibility and representation. But when I started my agency, I really wanted to make sure that we were mindful of that. So there's a couple things that and I mean, it's incredible what some resources out there. There's an amazing platform on Slack called Where Are the Black Designers? And it's literally a free Slack channel you can go on, and there's thousands of non-white designers that are there, and it's categorized. So there's Slack groups for people with disabilities who are designers. There's Slack, like, it's incredible. So what that does is like it gives you the opportunity as an agency owner to just put in a job description, right? So again, putting in available environments where people who are non-white can see them. right? So like that's a great
Okay.
example of a group.
Love
When
that.
we post, we always say we prioritize BIPOC, BIPOC applicants. We prioritize queer applicants. We like
Wow.
just saying like upfront, like know that like if you are our identity, like we prioritize Asian Americans. Like we just say that, like, and not that you're gonna get the job, because that means that's like there's legal laws behind that.
Right.
But in that, like, we're saying like we're gonna prioritize your application, and that we're just gonna make space to make sure we see it. Right? Like feel confident applying to us, because you will hear from us whether you get the job or we're moving you forward or not. And that's really important, of like just creating public space of like, we see you, we have space for you, like you're going to be put in the same job application as anybody, right? And it doesn't mean you get the job, and it also doesn't mean we don't have white people. My business partner is an incredible white woman who I love to death. Like that's the other thing that blows my mind, is people are like, do you not have any white people on your team? And I'm like, what are you talking about? There's nothing that says no white.
It's like, you don't need to worry about the white people. The white people are doing just fine.
Put them in the category of people who just don't get it. Because if they're even asking that question, you just don't get it.
And honestly, I encourage any applicant who is interested in the position, bring that up. It's like, you're telling me you have an issue with us prioritizing queer and BIPOC?
Thank you for taking yourself off the list.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, literally. So I think, and also there's amazing resources out there in terms of like databases. Like I found one recently that I can share for disabled designers. I found one recently for Asian females in New York City. Like just incredible groups that, like, again, it's not like only reaching out to them. It's just making sure your job description, your job post is available to them, that they can see it, that you're not just posting it on, platforms that are only traditionally viewed by, people who have, went to Ivy League schools, right? Then that's like, what is the contingency of that demographic? I mean, I went to Brown, so like I'm mindful of like what I'm saying, but there's just a hyper awareness in taking that extra step of finding those communities and putting your job postings there, that these big companies, a lot of them don't want to do. And I don't know why. I frankly don't know why. I can't give you one reason why these big firms that have dedicated recruiters who are paid salaries don't post on these platforms. Couldn't tell you.
Stuck in their ways. I don't know.
Yeah.
The girls who get it.
Girls who don't.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
thank you for sharing. I love that a lot.
Seriously,
yeah.
Extremely valuable.
Yeah.
We can also
maybe you put that in the notes.
In our show notes. We will.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So cool. I would love to hear a little bit more about like, your agency, and also we know that you were on Forbes 30 Under 30, period. That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we'd love to talk about like just that experience and what kind of like that meant for you as well.
Yeah. I'm prepared. I'm brutally honest about that experience.
Let's go.
We're a brutally honest podcast.
Like, this is what we're here for. Spill the tea.
I'm not going to deny the fact that it has brought a lot of awareness to my work and to the Utendahl Creative's work. But I'm very honest that it has not changed my life. And I think that's really important, because there's this false belief system that 30 under 30, all of a sudden you're just going to like become a bajillionaire and get catapulted onto a billboard. And that's bullshit.
Right.
So I say to people who are interested in it, if you don't have an emotional why, you will not get it. You will not get it, because it is not something that is for just where it's not going to give you what you're looking for if that's the reason why you're applying.
Yeah.
It's just not. I'm honest about it. I applied for it twice. The first year I applied for it, I applied as a really angry, aggressive intention of proving people wrong. That was the first time I applied, and I didn't get it, because you don't get rewarded for things in life with that when that's your attitude. I believe that. Like, you do not.
That gave me goosebumps.
It's just, I just believe the universe works in that way. And for some people it's spiritual and it's religious, but I'm a universe person. And I believe that like when you put that type of intention into something, like I deserve this, like this is, let me prove everybody wrong. You don't get shit. That's not how it works. So I didn't get it the first time I applied. And I took the year to really evaluate, like, and I frankly forgot. I was like, okay, like this is COVID hit. I was like, this is not even on my priority list. And 2020 for me was really about keeping the business alive, doing good work, that inspired people in the state of pandemic, like just chaos that we were living in, fear, and keeping as many women employed during a time where so many women were losing their jobs and having to make huge sacrifices for their families. That's all I cared about, was like keeping women employed and happy, making sure we're doing good work that the world could see and was inspired by, and providing some sources of hope and inspiration in the things that we were doing. And I got a friend of mine who had received it before nominated me to apply again. And so I did. And I remember so clearly saying to my boyfriend at the time that like, it didn't really matter to me anymore. That like I had actually, was like, it was really at the bottom of like what mattered to me. I really was not there to like have that that didn't make an impact on my life. Like my focus and my why, my purpose was very clear, and that was not it. So I did not think I was going to get it. I had a very brutally honest application that was like, these are my belief systems. This is how I feel even about 30 under 30. And I got it. And I think it's really important that people understand that when they think about what this accolade means, is that if you don't have a why that's rooted in the emotional self, and then you don't have a why that's rooted in your life, it doesn't make a difference.
I love
you
that.
will get it and it won't change your life, or you won't get it and it won't change your life. That's the truth.
I love it.
I don't think Forbes wants to hear that, but
yeah, they want you to think that you're shitting gold after you get that.
yeah, no,
like,
it doesn't change anything. People I know who've never gotten it are still as incredible as they always were.
No, I love that. And I just want to thank you for your honesty and like transparency on that, because I think, you know, obviously in the entrepreneurial world, that is such a big goal for everyone. You know, the way when you're a model, you want to be a Victoria's Secret model, walking the fashion,
right.
walking the runway. So I love that. And I think it's so true. And something that we always try to remind our audience of is like, it's a balance, right? And you have to be like, you can't be searching for that validation and that happiness and that, I know I'll have made it when I get this, because it's like that will come and the high will only last so long, and then it will be empty, and it'll be empty again. So I totally love that you were really honest about that.
100%. Because, and look, it feels good when you get it. It does feel beautiful.
Of course.
Fleeting, right? Like there's a famous basketball coach, Dawn, I'm blanking on her last name, but she's the top lead coach of the WNBA. And she has this 48-hour rule, which is you get 48 hours to mourn a loss of a game, and you get 48 hours to have fun and celebrate a win. And then you got to get back to practice. It's either 48 hours or 24 hours. It might be 24 hours. I think it's 24-hour rule. And I think that's such a metaphor to how we should think about a lot of things in life, right? Is that like Forbes 30 under 30 is 24 hours of joy, elation, feeling proud, celebratory. Yeah. And then you got to get back to work.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They don't give you a salary with that title.
No, hell no. I can look at my bank account and refresh 100 times and nothing changed.
Right.
I'm telling you, nothing changed. So that's like a really important awareness also for people, is that like these things there's temporal emotion and value associated with it. Like I have other things in my life that give me more like on the regular basis, right? Like, wow. Right. But what are they? They're like looking at my team on like Zoom meetings, right? Or like going to our website. I'm like, shit, we did this.
Yeah.
You know, like that feels, but that's a we thing. That's not an I thing. Those are the things in life that like we really should be pursuing and focusing on. Forbes 30 under 30, I think, should be teams, shouldn't be individuals.
I agree.
None of us got to that list by ourselves.
I totally
agree.
One.
Yeah.
No one made that list alone.
Neither of us could. We could not go on Forbes 30 under 30.
Like, do y'all take like duos? Because
yes. But I'm serious. Like all of us are. Everyone on that list is community made. All of us in life are community made. This whole belief system, this American philosophy of like self-made.
I did
bullshit.
it.
Yeah. You went to school. You had a teacher. Guess what? They're a part of your story. There's so many people in our lives that like are a part of how we got to where we are. We don't want to self-made. No one. Even if you're an immigrant to this country and came with $0 in your bank account, there is somebody here who supported your journey.
Yep.
Even if it was just the person who gave you your first Metro card when you paid for it at the kiosk.
Right.
We are all community made, all of us, every single one
So
of us.
good.
I believe that.
Said like a true nice New Yorker.
Yeah, seriously.
It's truly your brand.
Yeah,
and
it really
I love
is
that.
to your core. It's so good. And that's not to take away from, setting these really big goals, because that's fine.
Yes,
And it's great to pat
100%.
yourself on the back and feel good and like, really feel that accomplishment. But I think where you have to draw the line is really getting wrapped up in your self-worth and self-value within that goal, or seeing
Perfectly
it
said. Yeah.
or seeing it as a fun game that let's play. I want to hit 30 under 30, like
Yeah,
then it's
totally.
like,
Oh my God, perfectly said. Yeah, that's exactly how it should be looked at. Like one step on your list of things in life that you seek to achieve, not
right.
like the end goal. It's like people who are like, I
End all
have
be
to get into
all.
Harvard. You're like,
Yeah.
what?
What do you mean?
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
end all be all, nothing else is
Yeah.
acceptable. Yeah, no, it's good to work towards things, of course. Like personally, I have to set those crazy goals to even move forward just because,
Yeah.
that's how a lot of us stay motivated and on
Yeah.
track.
Same. Totally.
But you can't get your whole self-worth and self-value all wrapped up in one goal because like you said,
Yeah.
it's fleeting.
Yeah. I'm doing a lot of work right now on like the baby goals that you need to take to get to the big ones. Like I saw this meme on Instagram actually, and it was like two stick figures with two ladders, and one ladder has like big gaping spaces between each level. And the person's reaching up and they like cannot get to the second ladder. And the second one has like a million little steps, and the
Right.
person's like halfway up.
Right. Oh, that's
And
so
I was
good.
like, oh wow, like that's really true, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's actually like all the little things that allow you to get to the top versus like these big
Yeah.
gaps that you
Yeah.
create for yourself, So I'm trying to like stay in this space of like, how can I create baby goals every day? Like, can a goal for me every day is like, I took like 4 walks today. Like, and that means, what does that mean for my end goal? Like, you can still have a big one, but what are the little steps that we actually have to build into our life to get to that end goal?
Right. That end up accumulating into those big
Yeah.
goals.
And
Yeah,
something
they
that
do anyways. Yeah.
something that one of our friends always tells us, and you know this friend very well. His name is T. Drew, and we've actually had him on the pod. He always tells me 1% better every single day.
Yes.
Just
So
1%.
true.
Like, you don't have to focus on, a 30% jump today. All you need to focus on is,
So true. I
a
love
baby
that.
step.
That's so true. Yeah.
One workout, one good meal, one walk, whatever it is. So that's always
It's
really
so
helped
true.
me.
That's a good one. He's so
Yeah.
wise.
He's so
T. Drew.
wise.
We
He's
love
so
T.
wise.
Drew.
Always so wise. No, it's true. It's exactly it. It's 1%, something incrementally better or more fulfilling or joyful. And that's where like
Yeah.
gratitude journals, I think, come really like have a lot of value. It's like just taking the day and like, what are 3 things I'm grateful for today? Like recording this
favorite thing.
podcast with you guys. You know what I mean? Like getting my morning oat milk latte that just like is just so, even when it's fucking 15 degrees outside, like grateful that I can do that I can go buy this latte, that I can actually enjoy this.
It
There's
keeps
so
you
many
grounded.
things and the little things that we're like, oh, we don't think it's a big deal to like get a latte.
Right. But it
But
is.
It's a privilege.
Totally. Sam Harris has a 3-minute meditation on his podcast about gratitude. And he invites you to close your eyes and think about how, if there are billions of people in this world, to wrap your head around the fact that there are at least 1 billion people that would trade places with you in this exact moment, no questions asked.
Wow.
1 billion people. And it's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who, in this exact trivial moment of your life, if you gave them an opportunity to switch with you, they wouldn't even think about it. They would say yes.
Yeah.
That gave
And
me
that
goosebumps.
to me is like, I listen to that 3-minute meditation anytime I'm like overwhelmed and stressed and anxious, because it's so grounding.
Yeah.
So grounding. Just
Something,
like in this moment, they would switch places with you.
A mantra we have on repeat for us and our audience is, we don't have to, we get to.
Yeah.
Laundry. You don't have to put your laundry away. You get to put your laundry away. You
get
have
to put it-
laundry
yeah.
to put
You
away.
have clothes.
So
you have somewhere
true.
You
to
don't
put
have to
them.
have this team meeting. You get to have this team meeting.
You get to.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
so
and the
true.
language reframe, I mean, going to your point of reframing, like that's an amazing, easy way, a first step for people to think about how to reframe their life. Simple language shift, get
Yeah.
versus have. That's
Mm-hmm.
step one.
Huge.
I get to do this podcast. I get to have this glass of water. Like I get to walk my dog, even though it's 15 degrees outside. Like I get to do these things
Yeah.
versus have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
huge,
it's almost
amazing
like
reframing.
it's almost like the smaller, the better, you know?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
smaller, the better.
That's where the work
A
is.
breath.
yeah,
It's in the day to day. It's in the
Mhm.
mundane.
Yeah.
So true.
I feel like I just want to talk to you forever.
We could.
And
We could.
I
I
really
enjoyed
want
this.
to.
This is
I really want
great.
to. I'm really
This is
glad we
really great.
connected. We're definitely going to
Thank
stay
you
in
guys for
touch.
having me. Great
We do have.
questions.
Thank you. We have 2 last questions that we ask every
Yeah,
guest.
please.
It doesn't have to be super in depth, but we'll wrap it up with these. The first being, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received in your life? I know that's a big question, but you can keep it
It's a
simple.
good one. You know what? I'll answer it. So I feel like you could ask me that question every 3 to 6 months and I have a different answer because
Yep.
I'm like, I feel things really deeply and I read a lot and like to engage in these types of deep conversations. My sister always says to me, she makes this joke. She's like, I don't feel like going that deep right now. Okay. She's like, I know that's hard for you to understand.
Yeah. Let's
I'm
keep
willing
it
to
up
go
here.
deep with I'm like, I'll go deep with anyone, anytime. Total
Yeah.
strangers. I'm like, tell me.
Yeah. Same.
Tell me. But so right now, the thing that's impacting me the most, that's like changing my perspective, is the quote that Nietzsche has. That's, if you know your why, any how is bearable. And to me, that's really been mind-blowingly powerful in opening up my perspective. There's nothing that's too hard. There's no suffering if you have a why behind what you're doing, if you have a why behind your existence, if you have a why behind your relationship. There's no fight that's going to end your relationship if you know deep down, like, the why you're in this.
And
right?
I love how you said
So
for a
good.
relationship, because it can really be applied to so many different
Anything.
scenarios.
Anything. So if you know your why, anyhow is bearable. Anyhow is bearable. But
Love
most
that.
people don't know their whys.
Yeah.
And if you don't know your why, that means it's probably not the right thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
right?
good.
That's the other flip of the coin. If you cannot figure out your why, if you really think and ask yourself that or think through that statement, you're probably not in the right situation.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Work, family dynamics, partnership, friendship. If you don't know why you're friends with this person, you cannot honestly answer that question. You should not be friends with them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Easy.
Facts.
That's a really easy rule of thumb right there.
Yeah, it's why you can't bear the fights or the conversations, why you can't bear their existence. It's because you don't have a why. So the how feels impossible. How you spend time with them feels so overwhelming.
So good. Yeah, it's
So
good
that's the
from
one.
it's
That's
good from both
anything.
angles.
Yeah.
So good.
I love that.
Cool.
So our next question and last question is, what is your best business pro tip? This could be anything from, like a mindset hack to like an app that you use, or really anything of that nature.
Time management, anything.
Yeah. Know the power of no. Say that all the time. I'm the queen of no. Are you free right now? Nope.
No.
Can you take this meeting right now? Nope. I cannot. If you create boundaries for yourself, it's important to be yes oriented in life. That does not mean that you have to live your life according to other people's schedules and plans. If you cannot make that meeting because that's when you told yourself you were going to meditate, and that person did not ask you if that time works for you, the answer is no. Learn how to say no. That's it. People don't know how to say no in American culture when it comes to work, and so we burn ourselves out. But I believe burnout in many ways is a choice. It's because we don't know how to make boundaries.
Yeah.
So we don't know how to say no. So that's my professional advice.
So good.
I say that to everyone.
Can you be our big sister?
So true.
Are you taking applications?
Anytime. Literally, the people I work with who are probably like, this fucking bitch. I'm like, they're like, can you
always preaching something?
They're like, can you meet tomorrow at this time? And I'm like, nope. They're like, you have plans? And I was like, and I'm like, not really, but I didn't plan on meeting. That was enough of a plan for me.
It's the mental.
Period.
It's the
I
mental
didn't plan
bandwidth.
on meeting. Period.
I didn't plan on meeting. I did not plan on meeting. So no, you cannot take that meeting slot.
Wow, that makes me feel so much better, because I do that. Like, someone will be like,
we all do it.
But people will be like clients will be like, hey, can you guys meet like tomorrow or today? And I'm like, we can, but I don't want to.
But we should.
And you don't have to.
Yeah.
Nothing is that urgent. If you are not working in an emergency room, it can wait. Or if you're not up against like a production deadline, which is very real. Like there
Yeah,
are certain dates with manufacturing that like you have to have that shit in.
Right.
Those are the 2 rules I have. You're in an emergency room, you're a doctor, I'll do whatever you want. You can tell me to run to the middle of the street right now and I'll do it if you have a manufacturing deadline. Other than that,
Yeah.
nothing's
And
that
if they
important.
didn't bring it up
or you're
before this
Barack
point.
Obama. Obama could ask me to meet with him at any time, any day.
Yes.
Period.
Anytime. 24/7, I'm on call for you.
24/7.
But yeah, and also if they didn't bring it up before this point, then it's obviously not that important. I also have this saying, well, I think my mom has said this, your lack of planning is not my inconvenience. Period.
Whoa.
Period.
This is our
I have
favorite.
goosebumps.
Wise words from mama.
I have fucking goosebumps. I'm gonna use that. You're gonna see that question of like what's inspiring you right now. That's my next 3 months.
Yes.
Dude, it's our favorite,
Your
and we
lack of
say it all the
planning
time.
is not my inconvenience. Oh my God, that's
Period.
amazing.
This was my exact reaction when I first started.
Yeah, it's really
It's
good.
it's the
Gold.
truest thing. Stop why am I inconveniencing myself because you don't have your shit together? Oh, wow.
Period.
Your mom's a genius.
Yes,
I love
she
that.
is. Love her. This has been so good. Like I said, I feel like we could talk to you for hours.
Yeah, likewise. When are you guys, if you're in New York, whenever you come to New York, we have to meet in person.
100%.
100%.
that.
We're meeting up with the
Love
squad.
that.
We're making
The
it
squad,
happen.
TJ, Corey, you, we're out here.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
No,
Too
it's
good,
happening.
too
Mark my
good.
words. If our
Awesome.
audience wants to follow you and your journey and your agency, where can they follow you at? And we'll make sure to include all of this in the description.
Yeah. Instagram, Madison.Utendahl, my last name. And then my agency is Utendahl Creative. That's what the handle is as well.
Amazing. Guys,
Perfect.
if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to take a screenshot, tag us, let us know you're listening.
Thank you both.
Show Madison some love.
Great
It's
questions.
been amazing.
So
Such
good.
a joy. I really
Thank you
enjoyed
for
this.
honoring our podcast with your presence.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so excited. You guys also have had an amazing roster of talent that have been on this podcast. So it's a great honor for me too.
Oh, thank you.
It means a lot.
We'll see you
Absolutely.
guys next week for another episode and have a great week, guys. Bye.